In selling, there are three different levels of influence, and whoever's listening to this might want to listen more. How am I? What am I doing? There's the imposed influence, and that's 90% of what's being taught right now. Deliver some great information, find out what their pains are, say I can solve it, and then deliver a presentation of all the good things that you could do, and then pitch your offer at the end. Now, that's the typical, what I call the pitch and present, and that's the imposed. I am imposing all this information on, and then get to the end and why you should buy from me. Now, the neuroscience have said now that they need to be involved a lot more. They use a lot of different terminology, but if you people want to remember this, when they're involved, they invest. So the next level of influence is collaborative influence. And that's just not sitting and talking and saying, yeah, this would be good. Yes, I think I agree. But it's using another part that I picked up is annotation. Now, if you watch a visual presentation of mine and the people that have got it right, they're actually drawing on the screen and they're annotating. Mm-hmm. When there's movement, our eyes are drawn towards it. Yeah, it's the old primitive. Is that going to kill me or am I going to eat it? So keeping people's attention in a virtual situation is so much harder. Statistics show that 86% of all people on a call are multitasking. So when you annotate on the screen, it could be the same presentation you've done thousands of times, but the minute you draw on it, it's individual to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching, I'm involved, and I'm preparing it as an individual for me. So that's the collaborative. And when we're teaching people to do their sales calls with their blueprint, they're actually stopping on what I call value pit stops, and they've got to hear. So, Sarah, you said that you're having problem, let's just say, standing out in the marketplace. You're feeling as if we've discussed a brown box. What would it mean if we talk about collaborating on a positioning for you to do this? Now, statistically, that increases the level, the quality of people, and increases your fees and rates by about 10 to 15%. Quickly calculate, what would an extra 10% in monthly revenue mean to you? Mm-hmm. So you'd calculate, and I would write it on the screen next to that part of the blueprint. And there'd be different spots all the way around that we'd stop and say, you said that you know you need to do this, you know you need to do that, but here's a plan on how we could do that together. Do you think you could do that? What if we did that? Because I know that increases generally about 20%. Could you see how that would do for you? Yeah. So there's an extra money. So all the way around, you're actually you're collaborating on the money that you're going to put in their bank when they work with you. Now, a lot of people in their presentation and pitch, they just say, here's all about us. Here's how much it's going to cost. And then they get to the infomercial stage, but wait, there's more. We're going to throw in this, we're going to throw in this, we're going to throw in this. Whereas the blueprint accumulative value system is all the numbers are adding up in their mind, and they're their numbers. Mm-hmm. And when they're involved, they get to a point where they couldn't charge more than this. And then they go to the self-influencers. They get to a point and say, this sounds fantastic. How do we get started? And there is no pitch. You slide seamlessly into, if we put all this money in your bank, would you be happy? Does it make sense we get started? And that's the big collaboration. And that's all based on neuroscience, is collaborating with them. They feel a part of it. They take ownership.
Yeah.
And that's the collaboration and the three different levels of influence.
Yeah. It's like a project that they're actively working on with you instead of, as you mentioned, somebody just kind of feature dumping and then being like, cool, so ready to spend a bunch of money on that. And you're like, I don't know. I don't really understand what the impact's going to be. And I think that's the most important and the most interesting part of what you just described there, because there are all these sort of like hacks and sales tricks and whatever around, I think they call it like the value stack or whatever. You don't say pricing first, you say it last, right? You go like for this, and this, it'll be this many dollars, but it's still just a short little, phrase about pricing. Maybe you stack some stuff ahead of it, but it's still just this little conversation, usually at the end, that is about pricing and maybe a shock, but you are incorporating that value stack at your value pit stops. Like you're stacking it over the course of this long conversation so that they get to really digest the idea and come up with, okay, I can see what life would be like on the other side. And then whatever price you stick at the end, as you're saying, is fine because they can see what the result will be. And they're like, great. Yeah. Could have charged
the
me
difference
triple.
is, I love what you just said. The difference is as you're going through the way you do this is the implementation value.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you are going to get when we implement it in your business. This is the value in the business, not the value of extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no real value drawn to when you implement this is what you're going to bank versus I'm going to give you all of these goodies because I actually don't think what I'm giving you right now is good enough.
Mm-hmm. It's not worth the money.
It's not worth the money. So I'm going to give you all this throwaway crap that's going to take your mind off what you're doing. You're never going to get to it. Sure, there may be some extra bonuses and things that we do, but first and foremost, and I tell all of my people, you never get to a price in investment or whatever you want to call it until you have, and that's the purpose of the blueprint, to demonstrate and agree on value significantly greater than their potential investment. Mm-hmm. So they've seen what's going to happen in their business, their life, or whatever the transformation is going to be before you even mention any sort of value. And it's like, well, if you're going to deliver this and it's only going to cost me this, I'm basically just going to take it out of the profits you're going to get me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, very logical. I love how it is rooted, as you said, in neuroscience. It's not just these things that we've decided as salespeople we're going to do, and that's why we're going to do them just because. But having it, rooted in neuroscience is amazing. You can see exactly why that would work.